In the third part of our review on multiplication and division of fractions, we will mainly concentrate on division. You see, once you've reviewed your multiplication of fractions, division is nothing new, because every division problem can be written as a multiplication problem. So for example, 5 divided by 1/4, and just a simple thing to remember is that when you're dividing fractions, you write the top one as it is, and you will multiply this by the reciprocal of the denominator. The reciprocal, you flip it upside down, so times 4/1, and there we have 20. And if you think about it, think of this problem as how many quarters are there in $5? Since in $1 there are 4 quarters, in $5, of course, there are 20 quarters. So that's what we've done here, but the rule simplifies the situation without having to like if the numbers are messy, it would be hard to do it in your head. Then you can just apply this rule. Write the top one as it is and multiply it by the reciprocal of the denominator. So for example, here, the top one is 2. We're going to multiply it by, flip this one, so you can have 2/3. Again, you can assume there is a 1 here, so our answer is 4/3. Here's another one. 2/3 divided by 4/3, same idea. Write the top one as it is and flip the bottom one. Now you can also take advantage of the simplification of the fractions. So you have 2/4, which of course can be further reduced as 1/2. Here's an interesting one, 3/10 to the negative 2. So the denominator is 10 to the negative 2. And we can write that as, if you remember your negative exponents, we can write that as 1/10 squared. A negative exponent means basically write it as 1 over the same quantity with a positive exponent. And now what you have is, in a sense, you're dividing by a fraction. So you write the top one exactly as it is and multiply this by the reciprocal of the denominator. So multiply everything by 10 to the second power divided by 1. So in other words, the answer turns out to be 3 times 10 to the second power. So anytime you have a denominator that has a negative exponent, you can simply write it as the same quantity to the positive exponents. And the last example is a mixture of some of the things we've done. We have a multiplication of fractions as well as division all in the same problem. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to write this, as a matter of fact, this would be a good point to pause the video, try to do the example, and come back, check your answer. So here we have this is my numerator, this is the denominator. So first I'm going to list all of those next to each other and times flip this one around as 4/6. Because again, if you're taking division of fractions, this is the big fraction, this is the numerator, this is the denominator. We write the numerator exactly as it is and multiply it by the reciprocal of the denominator. So I will multiply everything you see up there by 4/6. So that's what I have. And if you have a bunch of fractions being multiplied, you can multiply all the tops and divide everything by the product of the denominators. That's what I have, 3 times 5 times 7 times 4 on the top, 1186 multiplied on the bottom. At this point, you can simplify it a little bit if you like, or just multiply them across. So for example, 4 goes into 8 2 times, 3 goes into 6 2 times. So here I have 35/4 as the final answer. And that wraps our lesson on the review of multiplication and division of fractions.